Hello, sweet souls. This is DTO in the flow. Going to start this session with the first song on my latest album, Radiant Energy, featuring Adam Knight.
Feel the rush in my body every time that I breathe. With every inch of awareness flowing through my whole being.
All right, I'll stop it right there. So today's session is going to specifically be about improvisation. And for me, that means improvisation on the piano. And for you, it might mean something else. And this is my current Spotify account as DTO. So if you're not giving me a follow, go to your Spotify or your favorite app. I'm on a multitude of apps. And I appreciate anything that you enjoy to throw up on a playlist. That's one of your greatest ways to compliment an artist. And so, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to get right into it. I'm going to showcase how I produce music on a platform, a software called Ableton. And many people out there know that these are called digital audio workstations, DAW. People in the industry call them a DAW. And what I want to do is really cultivate your creativity today. So here is a keyboard. Check it out. Here's some sounds coming through a little bit. And what this is basically a connection that goes directly to your DAW, your digital audio workstation. And this gives you the opportunity, as you're going to see in a moment here, once I pull up this session here, you can see how when you play an instrument through here, it'll go directly into your digital audio workstation. So what you see here is the end result, which I showcase at the beginning of this live stream, where what you get to do is at the end of creating an album, I made these cool preview clips. So here we go. It's the opening part of the album, Physical, with Adam Knight. And then it goes into the second song. Agárrate la mano. It's called Energy. Then we go into the song Emotional. You see Emotional. Then we go into Wisdom featuring Lee Coulter. Chemical reaction. Okay, then here's a track called Bliss. It's Kyoshi. Kosh. Ramayama Kamakos. This is a violin solo by Jamie Shatterlight, which was also improvisation. So my gift today for you is to showcase, I'm going to start a brand new project in Ableton. And this is what it looks like. For a lot of people that begin music production, it becomes very daunting and overwhelming because you get into this ecosystem and you're like, what the heck is this? What do I do? What are my next steps? I don't get it. What's this whole thing about? And so when you're in this system, what I encourage you to do is, first of all, know that there are two different ways you can view. So you have, as you can see here, this is the arrangement view. Then if you just hit the tab button, it'll go into session view, and it looks like that. Session view, arrangement view. Now, because I'm a composer, producer, I create in an arrangement view. And I know a lot of people out there that produce music or that are interested in producing music. I think arrangement's better because just as if you listen to a song and you know it starts 0 seconds and goes all the way to 4 minutes, that you can see the same thing here at the bottom of the arrangement view. So everyone can see it goes from 0, and you can have it go as far over as you'd like based on what kind of song you're creating. So this is exactly what I would do when I create and produce a song. And who knows, maybe we'll just create a song together today. Um, so what you would want to do is you first, of course, want to find the instrument that you want to improvise on. So I'm going to create a piano MIDI. So I'm just going to type piano grand. I'm just going to double click the piano grand. As you can see, it's going to pull it up right here. And from here, I'm going to start recording. Right? Just playing anything. So at least you can start to see how this looks. So if you turn your head to one side, you can see how the keyboard appears. You see that? We have C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, so those are your 8 total notes. Remember, it's called an octave when you go from C. Okay, so pretty much what I would recommend you do, and I just was just playing around right now with some interesting notes. It just happened to land on E, which is great, especially if you're a guitar player. A lot of guitarists playing E strings, just a open major chord. Do the same thing here. Just play it open. So that's an E. And what's cool about this keyboard that I have here, if I want to go up an octave, then if you look here, all I have to do is click the octave button. So now it's going to go up, right? So this is an E chord. So if we're going to create a song in E, what would that look like as far as improvisation goes? So first of all, you have to know, like, what are the notes that are in the sweet spot? Like, what are the ones that you're going to hit and they're going to sound great no matter what you do? Because the last thing you want to do is hit a sour note, as we call it in music. You don't want to go, sounds weird. Or you don't want to do this, right? So you want to find, especially this is a major key, you want to find notes that are 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, right? Because this is your 1. If you've ever taken piano lessons from me, you know how I roll here. I always love to teach music theory, improv, all of it. So what you can see here is you're going to have your thumb on the E, then your middle finger, your 3, right here would be on the G sharp, and then your 5, your pinky, will be on the B. So those are your notes. So what you want to do is there's 2 things you can do in these digital audio workstations. Is you can draw the notes, right? I could draw them out, as you can see here. I can just move things around. It's kind of like a video game. It's kind of fun. And if for whatever reason you want to change the color, you can change the color of this. And you can also make these legato. If you, oh, by the way, if you double click, it makes it go away. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now, get rid of this one, G, double click. So if I highlight these, you can move them. Another thing is Command A, you get to highlight all of them. You can move them across the screen like that so they play longer. And another thing you can do too, which I think is a great thing, is if you're here, see where it says legato? You click legato, and if you notice that, I'll Command Z, goes back to here. If I just hit legato, they'll just go all the way out there. So watch, that's your E chord. Now, when they're all selected, which they are already, you can hold down the shift button and go arrow up or down. They go up or down. So they stay in the exact same order. And all you have to do from there is go up or down. So one of the things that I like to do when I'm producing is I like to come up with some kind of tempo. And what that allows me to do is if you look up in the upper left-hand corner, it says 120, and that means BPMs. So that means the timing. Okay, so it's important to know the timing of which you're going to be creating something. And when you're in this program, you can look up here, it says create, what you'd like to view. I don't like to see that there. Get rid of that. Okay, we're just going to kind of clean this up so it's easier to show. Okay, so what I would do at this point is I'm going to move this to the very beginning, that first note I played. Then I'm going to make an 8-bar loop. So what that means is these programs start in 1. So if you're going to create 8-bar, you have to go all the way. Here's 8 to the completed part of 8, which then it starts on 9, right? So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 5, 6, 7, and then it goes to 8. So the way you do that is right here. This is your loop setting. So if it's over here, for example, and if I just highlight this, Command L creates a loop there. So one of the things that I teach, especially anyone that is mentoring with me one-on-one, is I really ensure that you're going to increase your production skills by knowing the shortcuts. And that's kind of life in general, right? We call them life hacks. Just get to know something right away, really quickly. So as you can see, the song starts out right now and it's 120. So you can do a couple things. Let's say in your mind, you're like, oh, I want the song to go da, 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 right? So I tapped it out and it's around 60 BPMs. 60 is great. If I double click, it goes back to 120. Well, let me just type in 60. Okay. Now, one of the tricks that I like to do personally is there is a metronome, right? Click, click. To me, if you listen really close and bum, 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 that has tone to it. So I don't even like to use it. And you can choose other things. There's like a click, there's wood, there's classic, there's wood block, which is kind of cool. Not that bad. But actually what I choose to do is I like to have like a shaker sound that sounds really pleasant to the ears. This is one of the things that I like to do. So I'm going to listen to a shaker. Hopefully you can hear these. I'm going to turn up my volume here, make sure you can hear everything. This is a pleasant shaker sound. So I'm going to grab this shaker, put it there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate it. So shortcut key, Command D for duplicate. Watch this. It's going to make all of these shakers. Right? Better sound, me personally, than this. Don't ding. Right? It's kind of that interesting sound. And what I also like to do is I like to put on like a delay. Hear that? Now it has this whole like vibe pattern to it. Sometimes I even get into it further and I like to put an EQ on it. I like to take out the low end. Right? So this is ping pong. So what these are called are effects, and you can just get them on Ableton. You can create a favorites. Okay. So let's talk about something with improv. And one of the good things that I teach people is music theory. So if you have E, these are all the notes that are like, let's call them like the safe notes play, right? And since I'm kind of like vibing in this kind of vibe right here, you can feel it. You know what's up. So from here, what I would like to do is actually add some delay on the piano just to give it a little extra space, and maybe a reverb might work out well. And I can have another session later. Hear that? I'm going to start recording. I'm going to record on the 5 because that's actually like the beginning of another set. Okay, there you go. So that is a little vibe I put together here. So let's do this. I'm going to start it from here so you can hear how it starts. Again, I'm just playing the notes that are in that safe zone. So I'm going to turn this piano up so everyone can hear it better. And what I'm going to do too is I'm going to take this part right here and I'm going to copy and paste it over here. And then I'm going to add it over here. And there's a little intro here. Okay, so that first note, make sure that that's over. Pretty cool here. So what's cool about Ableton as well is a lot of other programs out there. Look at the very bottom. They look like, if you ever played the game Life, you see these little like people with heads on them. These are the volume changes. So that first note's pretty loud for me. So I'm going to change it. So what's great about it, in the old days, you know, you record an instrument, and if you didn't get it right the first time, you have to go back and re-record it. What's awesome about Ableton is you get the opportunity to really go in and make changes on the fly, right? And so I'm going to combine those two together. That's Command J. Okay, great. So now, as you can see, what I've created so far, and you can see it here on the piano, is just the beginning ideas. And if you notice, this isn't right on the 1. So I'm going to move it over a little bit. And there is this whole method called quantizing that we could get into later. But quantizing basically like quantum physics. It'll make it as perfect as possible. But I'm not really going for perfection. You know, I'm really looking at just vibes right now, in a sense. Okay, and that note kind of got messed up there. So I'm going to duplicate this one. That's a little loud, so I'm going to take that one down. And I need a supportive note for that one. So same thing, I'm going to duplicate, Command D. I'm going to take the shaker a little bit down in volume. It's a little too loud for me right now. And the shaker's more about kind of like training wheels. It's just there. Like I can, for example, you'll see here, this channel's on, number 1. I can turn off the shaker. So all we're doing right now is listening to the piano parts. So here's how the piano part is written out. Okay. And one of the ideas I like to do is the whole less is more. So there's a cool, interesting amount of lines here. But I could also simplify this if I wanted to. And noticing too that this is a piano part. So this is a little trick I like to do here. So I'm happy with this. This is more like little improv. They're not the actual full notes. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to Command D, duplicate the piano. And besides having this be a piano, I'm going to have it be another sound. So let's just say strings. So I'm going to put in string. I'm going to go to all results, see what kind of acoustic strings. And so here's the string sound. Interesting. And again, so it's a piano and the strings. I'm going to take it down an octave. Oops, Command Z, right? Okay, here we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to distinguish what each instrument is. So personally, for whatever reason, when it's a piano, I like to have it be red. So I'm going to change it to the color red. So I'm going to add the shaker back in, just to have some percussion. And in my mind, I'm already having a bunch of ideas come to me. And if you have any ideas, please in the comments, write something. Tell me what you feel the next step or next instrument would be cool to have. So to me, this is plenty to get started on an idea, especially just an 8-bar loop here. For then to lay down the foundation for the next instrument. So I'm going to do the same idea because I already created the MIDI once, and this is what's really awesome about MIDI. You can have the MIDI be any instrument you want. So now I'm going to duplicate that MIDI. I'm going to make a different color. Let's make it yellow. So you can see that. It's a really cool thing about these programs. It starts looking really colorful. And actually, on the fly here, if I hit Command T, it's going to create a new track for me. I feel like a stick echo sound would be really cool. So I'm just going to put stick. So let's just find a stick. That means like a so here's a stick. It's like a snare stick, but here how it's really solid right there, just cut really abrupt. This is where you, in your favorites, you can add these delays, reverb, EQs, and this one's going to be a little dramatic. And I'm not going to have it be on every one. So having the one hits, it's going to be on the 1, 2. Actually, when I hear about it, when I hear it now, it wasn't really a stick I was wanting. Maybe like a hi-hat sound, like a. If anyone's seen Chariots of Fire, it's like a. So watch this. I'll throw that in there. You heard that. So I'm going to retitle this. It's always important. So I'm going to put hi-hat echo. I'm going to set it up for success here where I'm just going to duplicate. Watch this. Command D. I'm going to select the area, duplicate. Put the microphone up to the speaker. Make sure you hear it right. There we go. Okay, so again, this is improv in E, something on the fly. And I want to have a bass sound. Now, the thing is, I'm going just through my MacBook Pro speakers here. So you're not going to really hear a loud bass. So I'm just going to throw in okay, so I'm recording the bass. So you see this? You know the notes that are in the good ones. Remember I shared that with you? E, G sharp. All right, so these are like the safe notes. And normally just do like fifths or octaves. So I just did like an octave with it. Really simple patterns, just the bass line. And remember, spacebar will start and stop your recordings, your tracking. So you can hear this. I'm just gonna change it. Besides an acoustic bass, I think I'll change it to something else where you can actually hear it. It's like a saw. You can hear that. It's a little poppy, but I'm just doing it so you can hear. There you go. This little mic synthy. It's probably not the sound I'd ever choose in the final, but it's just something you hear it. So it cuts through the speakers. Right. So the bass line is something I work out in a larger speaker. So I'm going to remove that right now, but at least you got something you hear. And I'm going to take out the string part. Okay, so let's get back to the grand piano. So I'm going to type in grand piano. Just back to basics. Piano. Remember, each instrument, you can change the delay, you can change the volume. Okay, so that is how I approach music in Ableton. And this is what my Learning Institute is all about as well, for anyone that is currently a student of mine or is interested in taking lessons on how to create, produce music in any genre you'd like. My specialty is designing music for yoga, breathwork, meditation. And I've also created some house music, and, music's music. It's all about, for me, having a why and a purpose and a clear intention on how music is medicine, and it's really a vibrational signal that can really be received by people in a positive way. And this is really what I've been creating more and more, is music that not only for me like alivens my soul, but having a learning institute where then I can support you in whatever it is that you would like to create in your world, in your life. And there's so many options, I feel more and more, for people to do that. So this is um, just a quick, very, very like overview lesson of how to improvise. And again, it comes back to having the ability to know music theory. E, here's middle C, for example, C, D, E, F, G, knowing what a chord is, knowing what a scale is, and putting all of that together. So hopefully you got a few things out of today's lesson and that you're inspired. And if you're curious about the programs that I offer, reach out to me. I would love to work with you. And I'd love to hear what your vision is for your own musical creation. Sending high vibrations, tons of inspiration, creativity, joy, and abundance into your lives. Keep on enjoying your day. Blessings.